What I will be sharing with you here is the third part in the series from the Blue Stone Treatise of Thoth, which was originally written by me, with Thoth's oversight, of course, in 1977. Now, I've explained a lot more about that in previous videos in this series, so I'm not going to go into it here. I would encourage you to listen to the whole series. So here we go. The three sacred sciences, cosmic autonomy, alchemy, and Natali, each is a phase of knowledge important to humanity. Cosmic autonomy revealed to the ancient man the universal distribution of matter and the spiritual impact of the soul upon space and time. Alchemy brought to light the homogeneous quality of the soul and the elements of matter, the definitive relationship of the gross to the subtle, the latter being the sublime nature of the first. The third sacred science could only be understood after the first two had been absorbed into the consciousness. Natali was the title given to the process of nature in its continuation in time and the relationship of the human being to the natural world which humanity creates and combines with to become a total being. Nature was seen to evolve not through stages in environment or atmosphere, but through the dual actions of time contraction and mind expansion. As matter is exposed to time, it was seen to contract, or rather create a denser impact upon the matter. The mind of humanity is in a natural state of expansion. Thought is the result of the mental expansion of the soul's stirring. It was known that matter was a product of impacted thought waves seeking channels of release. Nature is thought in full bloom, expressing the desire to sustain life. Through these two motions of thought, the need for release and the spiritual urge to sustain, is formed the cradle for evolution. Yet even the thoughts of man are subject to the time element, in the sense that time enters all direct participation of thought in nature and affects the initial drive of spiritual action in matter. Natali was the science of assimilation. It traced the drive of the soul, which through the spirit in the form of thought penetrates Earth's subtle state to create patterns of expression so profound as to mirror the spirit of man to man. Thoth Raismes had a deep love of the earth and of every natural beauty that abounded therein. He expressed this emotion thusly: "Oh, the beauteous bosom of life, 'tis immortal longing, becoming of substance before my sight." Upon every leaf is inscribed the ancient verse. Beneath the paling moon is suspended the garden of the Lord, full and ripe for the receipt of his hand. I lower myself to kiss thee, sweet mother, as the sun finds root above thee, and the stars proceed before thee. Grace is thy name, holy is thy place before the Lord. Because the earth was seen as holy by the ancients, her natural substance was spirit. A human being also was spirit in its highest expression. Therefore, if the human children of God lacked in wholeness of body, they could become total by receiving from nature, which was their natural inheritance, being the storehouse of his creation, the sum of humanity's reverence for God. The children of God could therefore benefit from their relationship with nature through these two phases. one, by the absorption and assimilation of natural matter into the physical system, and two, through the transfer of etheric current from the natural matter into the auric pulse of the body. Thoth Raismes spent much time with young children, some of them his own, walking with him through the oasis areas of Egypt. When in Greece, he taught a group of children for a time, instructing them in the ways of nature communication. In Greece, Thoth himself studied herbology, but found it lacking. Now I'm going to pause for a moment because I did not say this in this particular video, but I have said it in the other ones preceding it about this topic, that we're speaking of Thoth Raismes here. This is the incarnation he purposely entered to be able to go deeply into the psyche and the human awareness and understanding it from the ground up. So he put a cap on his higher knowledge self so that he could learn through phases. Now, he was still an illumined being and knew a lot more than just about anybody else, but he was intentionally following a pattern of human discovery and development. It was through his excursions with the children that Thoth Raismes learned the most about Natali. He urged the children to touch the plants and trees, to reach out their minds to the nature spirits. All flora contains a cosmic atom within each that is stimulated and sustained through the positive thought of human souls. It responds as a center of pure emotion to mankind. The cosmic atoms, when stimulated by love, respond by releasing a charge of mist, which forms a cloud of light. These clouds are present in the periphery of those who are pure of heart and able to separate their thinking from negative conditions and emanations about them. This is difficult for the most sincere adult, but many children, Thoth found, were able to enjoy the visions of the nature spirits. Thoth could also see them flashing beneath the leaves of bitterroot after a summer rain and shimmering near the surface of a silver pond. To the children, they often assumed human shape, as the nature spirits are very responsive to the mind of a child. And often, the loose ectoplasm of a child's astral auric body, which does not become in closer union with the chakra centers until puberty, melted with the natural energy of the flora and made shapes from the mental images of the child's mind. All this fascinated Thoth, and he wrote a text on it describing in detail his experiences with the children in the natural world. He saw children receive instant healings by asking the nature spirits or nature lights to recycle their body energies. This was especially effective if the young one touched a tree, as the trees were massive purifiers. At the region that is now Mount Shasta, California, he learned the different actions of each type of tree and saw that aware adults, too, could benefit from this form of therapy. It was not necessary for them to see the nature lights in order to benefit from their emanations. Trees, he learned, were each polarized in a specific aspect. Each type responded to the body in a certain way, but also each individual tree was aligned in a particular polarity. To find the polarity, the masters of Shasta demonstrated to Thoth Raismes that one must place both their hands palms down on the trunk of the tree. The two hands were not to touch. As Thoth later described it, the one who desires the touch of the cosmic atom circles the tree in the direction of the magnetic curve, with his hands remaining on the surface of the trunk, acting as a sensor, his energies being transferred through the juices of the tree to the very core. When he approaches the proper direction in relation to the tree, the seeker must be sensitive to a gravity which is denser than the normal experience. Here he will remain, his hands still resting with the tree. That's the end of that particular Thoth quote. And then I say, once the polarity has been found, the participant was ready to receive directly from the cosmic atom. This involved a process of energy transfusion in which the individual's energies were circulated through the tree, purified and repolarized and returned to the body. The tree, once involved with the auric body of the individual, supported that person with its cosmic connections until his energies were purified. No harm could result in choosing the least harmonious tree, only a lesser therapeutic action would result. The tree most suited for total healing was the giant redwood, but not all could awaken to the cosmic atom of the giant guardian, as the redwood is the one tree of holiness that exists on this earth. It is a specter out of time, bridging the ages of humankind. Now, I feel this needs a little explaining. All trees are holy. Everything is really on the planet that's of God and spirit. What really is being stated here, and remember, this was written in 1977, so some clarity needs to be brought forth now and then, is that it is a very specific energy coming from a very sacred part of the experience of humanity and nature. So he's saying the one holy, he means it's out of space and time in its true existence. So it's not just a tree. There are a lot of beautiful, incredible trees on the planet that speak volumes. The oak, the evergreens. There's all kinds of beautiful trees, and they're all holy. But what is really, I'm trying to say from what Thoth is giving me here, is that this tree is unique in its spiritual conductivity. To continue, Thoth was told about ancients of the earth, those of the first race in the Eden land, Mu or Lemuria, that walked this planet long before Mu became a governmental region. The red trees were manifestations of the first race giants, remnants of their spiritual greatness and purity. Thoth Raismes expressed his feelings thusly: as sentinels of the dawn of mankind, the red trees tend the earth as temples, reaching their tendrils into the firmament and rooting the earth to the Templar regions of the Lord. He was especially entranced by these giants, as such living growth was certainly unknown in the Eastern Hemisphere of that era. The redwood was known to specialize its energy purpose so acutely as to devise a system of protection that was likened unto a complex code. The redwoods feed the earth with certain stellar currents unobtainable to the earth and man through any other means. For while these currents come down upon the planet, they cannot be assimilated unless received through the redwoods and directed through those trees into the earth. Again, I need to pause for a moment. No one tree is indispensable because evolution provides different forms of life at different times. But he is saying here that the redwoods, in our experience now, serve this purpose uniquely. If they were to disappear, eventually another tree or another form would take its place. I say eventually. Now, if they were to disappear naturally, that would mean that the next phase would come about sooner. If you were to mow down all the redwood trees by the hand of man, that would not be good, because it might take quite a while before that purpose that the redwood was serving could be duplicated in another manner naturally by the earth. To continue, because of the importance of the redwood, nature has imbued it with vast sustaining qualities and protective energy layers. When a redwood tree is cut down, its energy goes on assimilating stellar current for nearly 100 years. It is not as active in auric form as it is in the physical, but the action does continue for that approximate time. This is so to ensure that the growth of its seed will reach maturity before the parent ceases to function. About each red tree are several layers of polarized energies, each layer polarized in an opposite direction. When finding the polarity of a redwood, the seeker had to find the precise code by working layer for layer through to its cosmic atom. The atom of the red tree was called the sacred atom, as it was attuned to the angelic stations of light. Depending upon the age and position of the red tree, it would have a specific number of energy layers. The participant would begin on the first layer, circling the tree until he or she located the first polarity. Then they would pray to enter through this layer. They would do the same with consecutive layers. Red trees can contain anywhere from 2 to 8 layers on the average, but there are some with as many as 26 layers. The number of layers determines the potency of the tree as a channel for spiritual nature energies. Thoth was shown by the masters of Shasta how to determine the layers of a felled redwood by studying the rings in the wood, as the rings are composed by the circulation of energies within the tree migrating to the minerals of the wood into patterns of these rotating energies. The wood from a red tree was considered sacred, as it too contained a form of stellar response that was unique. However, with the wood, as long as the grain was not destroyed, it would continue to radiate a strong recycling quality beneficial to all living things. Other woods do this also, but not to the rarefied degree of the red tree. All trees and plants will also leave their auric bodies intact for a time after they have been felled or uprooted, but only for a short period. Now, I'm going to pause here again to mention my book, Red Tree, which I wrote, that would have been before this, so it would have been in 1971 or 2, something like that. And it talked about how the ancients of Mu, when Lemuria had sunk beneath the ocean, and they came to the western coastline, where there were red trees at that time, they felled some of these red trees to build their homes and put sacred writings on the stump. But they did not decimate the population of red trees. They used it appropriately and with spiritual conduct. This book, unfortunately, is now out of print, and I'm wanting to be able to get it back into print with new imaging to some degree and, just updating it. But that has not happened yet. So to continue. Plants of all kinds were seen to be expressions of higher energies which were consummate with humanity's being. Both followed their own expression, relayed outward into the heavens and settling back again upon them as a tender web of stellar dew. To receive the effect of a flower or leaf of a plant, the leaf or petal was to be held lightly between the forefinger and the thumb of either hand. The desired effect was especially potent if the plant was left intact with its roots in the soil and the leaf was not picked. Seed which had not been dried but kept in a condition conducive to sprouting could be held for receipt of healing energies. These were thought to be especially effective on growths, both external and internal. The most potent for this condition, and also any form of serious disease, was said to be the seeds of the pomegranate and the kernels of the apricot. Often rubbing the seeds when held, induced a greater response of energies from their latent energy cells. Seeds are embryos of life, yet to be, and therefore contain the intelligent radiance of energies that have not been realized in the present, but are waiting to be received into physical matter. There is thus an interdimensional activity within the seed that can be drawn upon. Thoth Raismes never ceased his wonderment of nature and the intricate yet fundamentally simple relationship of each portion of the natural world with its internal structure and with the cosmic directive which charged its coded microcircuits to elicit such perfect unity and accord. Each cell of living matter was known to be programmed by the universal pressures of stellar congruities, causing stellar activity, supernova implosions, and whirling masses of galactic light. The solar suns race into the centers of the galaxies, which in turn fall toward the greater central logos, or nebulous suns. Each action upon action determines ultimately the character and symmetry of a single budding rose on this misty blue sphere. But beyond the reaches of every conceivable climax in the universal intelligence which penetrates all knowing to produce the initial motion triggering the many actions in such smooth transitions as to provide harmony within each level of chain reaction. All the impact of quasi-stellar giants, blazing red suns, and vast celestial congestions are balanced in power so divinely as to not trample the most delicate petal of the rose. It is allowed to flourish through the same law that provides for atomic fusion. This was to Thoth Raismes the pinnacle of divinity. Now this ends the text here. And of course we're thinking, well, there's a lot of explosions in the universe and a lot of planets, are torn apart and all of this, and there will be as well. But you see, that's all part of the cosmic order of things. The energy patterns that move in progressive function. And if you interfere with some of those, you get even more chaos and discord. Natural chaos leads to something positive. Unnatural chaos, something that you interrupt and cause a chaotic frequency within that was not intended, causes an unnatural pattern that has to be adjusted, possibly through millions or even billions of years in time. So this concludes this third installment from the Bluestone Treatise of Thoth.